Hey, good morning everyone. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm Martin Wenzel, and hope you're having a good day. I'm sure everyone wants to know about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I haven't even looked into it that much, but we'll see how what that looks like on this flight. This is not Microsoft 2024 or Flight Simulator 2024. This is 2020, which they say they're going to be supporting for the next few years, hopefully. And hopefully the stream doesn't start deciding to crash here. Why? I don't know. It's because it's 9 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, and everyone's decided to get on the internet once. I don't know. Alright, so welcome in Monday morning here. And it is a Monday morning in Sim, about 7:30 in the morning or so, here in Sydney, Australia. We're doing World Tour Flight 242. We're flying from Sydney over to Perth, about a 5-hour flight here on Qantas, and we got this this livery we're running today. We're using the Menduwerji livery, Victor Hotel X-Ray Zulu Juliet. That's the plane identification. So if you're looking for that, you can find that livery over on flightsim.to. But we're in the PMDG Boeing 737-800. Those birds are chirping outside my window like crazy because they're insane. And anyway, we're gonna get this flight going for Qantas today. We are flight 643. Let's get inside the plane and get things set up. So first things first, we want to make sure all of our aircraft options are set. So let's get down into the flight computer here. FS actions. Okay, we see we got kilos. That's exactly what we want. We're gonna go about 1/3 so that we can actually fuel some stuff up. Payload today. Just setting all the weights and everything. We'll get the fuel, but otherwise payload and everything, we just want to set that, and then GSX Pro will take care of the rest. So we can see right here, payload, we're going 139 passengers. We have 12. We'll have 12 in first class, and then we'll do 220. Oh, do the math on the top of my head here. 39, so 127, and that'll be 139. There you go. All right, cargo. We have. What do we got for cargo? Cargo 3452. I kind of just divided evenly. All right, so that is set. Fuel, nope, we don't need that. Ground services, we do have our ground power. We're gonna call over the fuel truck. And for fuel today, we do need black fuel. We're gonna go 16,000. Right, and that's all we need on that front. Let's do our flight deck safety inspection. We got the battery on and guarded. Electric hydraulic pumps are off. And landing gear lever is down in 3 green. Ground power on as required. We're gonna go on. Turn on our panel brightness so we can see what we're doing. Fault in-app detection. I'm not going to do all this stuff. A lot of this stuff is first officer things, a lot of the testing. Kind of remembering where a lot of this stuff is as well is going to be difficult. I'll do a few things though. We'll do the various tests down here. Fault in-app test. Want to see fault in APU detect in-app. And then we did the engine, we did that one, that fire test. Look around here, the extinguisher. Go the other way. All right, we'll do the cargo fire extinguisher test. We'll start getting the APU going. So aft fuel pump 1, and we got the low pressure has gone off. We'll go APU start. Alright, manual gear extension access door is closed. Emergency equipment checked. Circuit breakers checked. Cockpit voice recorder, flight recorder, all that stuff. Steve is way up here on the top. Can actually test that right here. All right. Like nav for, or we'll do a line first for our IRS. As I said last time, I got all these extra, this longer checklist, and I still have to learn where a lot of these things actually are. They're all on there, but sometimes it's hard to find it. Okay, so first off, just going to do an exterior check now, and we'll continue with the setup here for the FMC. Hitting all the wrong buttons right now. Alright, so we want to go into FS actions. I want to just double check that we don't have the night filter on right now. We kind of do. There we go. Turn that down. Okay, go into FS actions, ground services, and we do have the fuel truck here, so we'll start fueling.
Refueling truck is on its way. Please don't load aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and ask to.
Here we have the active air rack that's going to be coming up for an update really soon, June 15th. Put in our initial position, which is Yankee Sierra Sierra Yankee gate. Let's see if we can do this. E11. Let's copy this down. And all the way up top, that nav down here. Route. Origin and destination Yankee Papa Papa Hotel.
Please don't load aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and ask.
643 for the flight number, and we're going to be runway 25. Alright, let's get the flight plan input, and in a few minutes we'll start our boarding. There's the flight plan. Side. And we're going direct to Kadam. And Hotel 44. Alpha Delta VOR. Quebec 33 for an airway again. Then to Echo Sierra Papa. Quebec 158. Beverly Bravo Echo Victor Lima Yankee. And that is our final waypoint there. We'll go to departure arrival. Do the arrival first. We're going to be doing 5 X-ray for 5 X-ray. We do have a few options. We're just going to go runway 3 for now, since we don't know what our approach is going to be given. We'll possibly use the ILS or the RNAV. But there we got runway 3. Go back to index, and then departure runway 25. Now there is a departure. We haven't gotten our flight clearance, so we'll add that in once we know where we're going with that. Here. Alright, performance page. I think this will change as we get more fuel. Fuel, we're going 16.0. Reserves is going to be 2.4. Cost index 56. And cruise today 340. The cruise wind is going to be, so this 268, 70. And outside air temperature, I think we go here for that cruise wind. Yep, there it is. And one, go back here, page 2, good. And one limit, we'll put that in the calculator pretty soon. Alright, checking the, where we're at. Yeah, oh, that stuff's good. So, we'll call over the, you see they got the, oh, it's actually working. Oh, well, look at that. Didn't really connect though. It's actually, I haven't been able to get the the GSX fueling to work, but it is working for some reason. So we got kind of two things going on at once. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to do the little test on that, how to use them. Go on there. Let's turn on emergency lights. CPU did not start up, did it? That's weird. We do have the fuel pump on. There it goes. Alright. The window heat. Logo light on. Put in our cruising altitude, and we'll come back with that. All right, let's get GSX getting the passengers on board. Before we do anything, I'm going to disconnect the jetway because once you do the request boarding, it'll pull the jetway in and then pull it out. So that's all that's going on there. So request boarding. I wish there was a way for it to recognize that indeed the jetway is out, but it doesn't, and so it would then disconnect like it's doing now. Let's get this boarding going. Come on. Okay. Oh, it's waiting for the jetway to operate. Okay.
Boarding requested.
Sydney clearance, Qantas 643, parking 11, request clearance to Perth with information, Juliet.
Qantas 643, clear to Perth, runway 25, fly runway heading, climb and maintain 3,300, squawk 6551.
Cleared to Perth, runway 25, fly runway heading, climb and maintain 3,300, squawk 6551, Qantas 643.
Qantas 643, read back correct. When ready, contact Sydney ground 121.7.
When ready, contact Sydney ground 121.7, Qantas 643.
Alright, so runway heading 242, altitude 3,300 for our initial, and then our squawk 6551 right down there. And we're already boarded, so we don't need to board the crew, but we do need to board passengers. We will be using the PMDG time acceleration for this plane, since it is a longer flight and I don't have all day to do it. Alright, we do have the APU, so we'll turn that on. And turn on the APU bleed. Packs come to auto. Isolation valve auto. Alright, forward entry is open. The cargo door should be opening once the wagons get over for that. Alright, we got the QNH in 1016. Continuing down the flow. The clock is set. Display, select panel. Get all that. Alright, pressurization system is what we want to look at. So we're going to actually pull up the calculator. And let's see. Alright, so there's my flight computer, or calculator. We're at runway 25. Calculate and get our performance data. Alright. So down in CFMS, we're going to be doing a 26K D-rate, or 26K takeoff. Like we're just going limited by climb, so we're not doing outside air temperature. We're just going with, not doing a selected air, outside air temperature. Go to takeoff page. We're doing flaps 10 degrees. We have a shorter runway, 25, instead of doing, we could do the longer 16, but I think we need to go all the way down to 34. Be a really long taxi. All right, trim 4.52 it's saying. Then you can see our slight difference between our V1, V rotate, and V2 speeds. So we'll go with this one. We can actually, it looks like it's telling us we can get a little higher speeds according to the plane itself. It's like 1 knot more, so not a big deal. Trim 4.52. We'll double check if that's, yep, yeah. 4.52 trim set. Back in here, we want to get our. All right, everything is set on there. Execute. And get takeoff page on. Turn off the calculator. Calculator is saying we have a landing altitude of 50. It is our pressure altitude, so we're going to go up, top, that in, 50. And we should be hearing passengers still coming on. I don't know if they are. Sometimes they'll put on like 3 passengers, other times, yeah, I don't know where they all are. But sometimes the passengers get on really fast with GSX Pro, other times they take a little longer. Man, those birds are just killing me. I cannot believe how loud they are. Alright, we can release the fuel truck. Okay, going through, speed brake lever down, detent, reverse thrust levers down, forward thrust levers closed, start levers in the cutoff positions, parking brake, verify LED on. There it is. Stabilizer trim cutout, normal. Light test. Light test. Check. Verify all are flashing or eliminated. Are. Alright, oxygen, interphone. Check, air conditioner system. Alright, so looking on the air conditioning system, air temperature source as desired. Temperature selectors as desired. Ram door full open, lit. Circulation fans auto, pack switches auto or high, and isolation valve open. Engine bleed air on and APU on. Alright, flight control panel. All 5 switches guarded. Where's flight control? All these panels, gotta learn the name of. I don't know. Oh, I know where we're going. Now we're going to kind of do our flow here. So here's our flight control panel, go up top. Alright, so all covered and guarded. Yaw damper on. Navigation transfer and display switches, auto and normal. Fuel system engine valve closed dim. Yeah, those look dim. It's kind of hard to tell, I guess, if you compare it to the ground power. So dim. Start valve closed, dim. Filter bypassed, extinguished. Crossfeed selector closed. Valve open. Now what you would do is actually you would open this, test it, and then you want to see that light go off, but you kind of do a light test. You want to do another light test, just make sure that light's actually working properly. Okay. Valve open, extinguished. Fuel pumps. You want to make sure that light actually works, so you either want to do that, open the crossfeed, check the light, do the light test, because it could say it's closed even when you do have it open. You want to make sure that actually extinguishes, actually turns on. Fuel pumps on. We'll do that. Low pressure extinguished. Galley power on. Get confused where galley power is, to be honest. Equipment cooling off, extinguished. Yep. Emergency exit lights not armed, extinguished. Passenger signs on or auto. Go auto. And IFE passenger seat power. Those are both on. Kind of skip things all the time. These are covered. It's all how we want it. Alright, window heat, overheat is extinguished, and we have 4 green. Probe heat off, wing and engine anti-ice off, valve open, extinguished. Hydraulics, system A and B, hydraulic pumps on. I believe that's this system. I don't know if that means engine. Electric pump, low pressure extinct. I think we actually do turn on electric pumps now. Yep. I guess that's system 1 and yeah. So I guess is yeah, system. Okay, yeah. So system 1, electric 2. I guess that's what it is. Pressurization indicators, cabin differential pressure 0. Yes. Cabin altitude, fuel elevation. Could be. I guess that is a little higher. I think this is 1,000. So that's about 50 right there. Let's see. Cabin rate of climb also 0. Exterior lights, logo lights on, nav lights on. Where's the nav lights? My question. And ignition select. I'm gonna select left. And engine start selector is in the off and auto position. Alright. We're just waiting for the cargo to get loaded up. For our oxygen test. Once we got the cargo on board, we'll be ready to go. Those birds aren't, it's not getting picked up too much on the microphone. While we're waiting for that, let's take a look at our flight. The chart. That up. Alright, so here's our airport. We're at a gate 11 in the domestic. We're going to be going to runway 25 over here. So we're going to push back facing south. So we're going to want our tail to the north. Facing south, we're going to take Charlie. They might bump us out to Bravo and then out to Golf. Or we'll take Charlie, Bravo 4 to Golf. So I have a few options. We'll see what they give us. But we're coming down here to Golf, and then we'll get on the runway either Golf 4 or Echo. I'm going to go for Echo, so we have that a little bit more use the threshold, displace threshold to get a little bit more runway. Since it is the shorter runway, but there are two, not much shorter than, it's actually longer than 16 left, 34 right, but you got the really long one right up the middle. Once we take off, we're going to be headed out direct to Qantas, and so we're flying out runway heading, and then we'll make a course adjustment and pass by Bankstown Airport out to Qantas. Qantas out to Cora, Orly, Maxim, and then Adelaide right there. Yeah, of course, it's going to take us over a little bit south, so we're not going to get a lot of overland, unfortunately, but we'll be able to see off of our right, see mainland Australia. Once we get into Perth area, we're going to be using the Beverly 5 X-ray RNAV arrival. So we're going to be doing an RNAV, it looks like, but this arrival, and then we'll set that RNAV approach once we are nearby. Get that clearance. Okay, it sounds like we're done getting loaded, so we're going to request pushback and startup.
Sydney ground, Qantas 643, parking 11, request pushback and startup.
Qantas 643, pushback and startup approved.
Pushback and startup approved, Qantas 643.
Alright, wheel chocks removed. Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen tested 100%. Navigation, transfer, and display switches normal auto. Window heat on. Pressurization mode selector auto. Flight instruments heading 242. Altitude 3300. Parking brakes set. Engine start levers cut off. Alright, we got our clearance. Doors all closed. And we're going to turn off the air conditioning packs and turn on the collision light. And we'll call up GSX and actually call the tow truck. That door not closed.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Before start checklist. Flight deck door. Closed and locked. Fuel. 1,000 or 16,000 kilograms. Pumps on. Passenger signs. Auto. Windows locked.
Bypass pin inserted.
MCP. Let's see, we need our V2. So V2 153 heading 242. Altitude 3300. Takeoff speeds V1 144, V rotate 145, V2 153. CDU pre-flight completed. Rudder and aileron trim free and 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed. Anti-collision light on. 4-star checklist complete.
Locking gears.
Alright, so we want to have our tail to our left.
Release parking brakes, please.
Parking brake released.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Alright. Starting engine 2. We're watching for an increase in N2. And once we're at 25% and we have N1 rotation, we're gonna bring up to idle on the cutoff switch. Verifying the fuel flow and EGT indication. When N2 is 56%, checking the engine start selector back to off and auto. Beautiful time of day now for our pushback. Starting engine 1. This guy gonna push me.
Please set parking brakes. Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
And we do have a good engine start, so let's let them know.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Not sure why there's no other planes here today.
Unlocking gear.
Just the time, I guess, time of day. Hey, Sasha. It's kind of middle of the night, but there should be some planes sitting there. Alright, so he just disconnected. And we do have our engines, so we'll go generator on there.
Tow truck disconnected.
Gen 1.
Bypass pin removed.
APU bleed off,
Left is
APU off,
clear,
packs
right
back
is
to auto.
clear.
Isolation valve auto. Probe heat switches on. The start selectors on. Continuous. Start lever is idle. Flaps set for takeoff. So we'll just click on that and it'll pull it over to flaps 10. After start checklist, generators on, probe heat on, anti-ice not required, isolation valve auto, engine start switches continuous, recall checked, auto brake RTO, flight controls checked, ground equipment clear. I said we did the check, but let's do our flight control check. Full right, full left. Neutral, rudder, full right, no, full left, and full right. Neutral. Alright, let's get our clearance.
Sydney ground, Qantas 643, request taxi.
Qantas 643, taxi to holding point, runway 25, via Charlie, Bravo 1, Alpha 1, Alpha, Golf, Echo, hold short of runway 16 right, 34 left.
Taxi to holding point, runway 25, via Charlie, Bravo 1, Alpha 1, Alpha, Golf, Echo, hold short of runway 16 right, 34 left, Qantas 643.
Okay, that's kind of weird. So we're going Charlie. Yeah, once we actually go the opposite direction and taxi across, we're going to runway 25. Why would I go? Yeah, that's a weird taxi. We're going to go our own way because the taxi clearance doesn't make any sense at all. Basically, it wants us to cross over to that side and taxi on the opposite runway, then cross the runway again come back. So we're going to ignore that. Alright, flight directors on, auto throttle armed. Taxi lights on, runway turn off lights on, transponder set and standby. Alright, trim set for takeoff. We have flaps 10, green lights. I'm really disappointed that no other planes are popping up with traffic injector. See what's going on there. Can't remember if we had planes show up when we came into Sydney last time, so it might be an issue with my FS HUD ATC, which is a little disappointing. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, I'm getting no flights coming in with the FS HUD ATC, which is really disappointing because we're at a big airport, you know, decent sized airport, right? Oh. We're gonna follow Bravo 4 here. So that's gonna be something I'm gonna have to figure out, like why is my ATC program, FS HUD ATC and FSLTL not working together right now properly.
Qantas 643, contact Sydney Tower 119.45.
Contact Sydney Tower 119.45. Qantas 643. Sydney Tower, Qantas 643. Request cross runway 16 right, 34 left.
Why would we cross the runway? We're on
Qantas
this side.
643, cross runway 16 right, 34 left. When vacated, contact ground 121.7.
Cross runway 16 right, 34 left. When vacated, contact ground 121.7. Qantas 643. Sydney ground, Qantas 643. Runway vacated with Alpha 1.
Qantas 643, continue taxi via Alpha 1. Hold short of runway 16 right, 34 left.
Continue taxi via Alpha 1. Hold short of runway 16 right, 34 left. Qantas 643.
Qantas 643, contact Sydney Tower 119.45.
Contact Sydney Tower 119.45. Qantas 643. Sydney Tower, Qantas 643. Request cross runway 16 right, 34 left.
Qantas 643, cross runway 16 right, 34 left. When vacated, contact ground 121.7.
Cross runway 16 right, 34 left. When vacated, contact ground 121.7.
Yeah, so
Qantas 643.
basically they wanted me to cross, go this way, down Alpha, then come back over to Golf. So I'm already way over here. I don't. It didn't make any sense. Their route have us go all the way to the other side
Qantas 643,
and cross the
continue
runway
taxi via
twice.
Golf.
Continue taxi via Golf. Qantas 643.
That's how we skip this. Here's the runway. We're on Echo now.
Qantas 643, contact Sydney Tower 119.45.
Contact Sydney Tower 119.45. Qantas 643. Sydney Tower, Qantas 643, runway 25, ready for departure.
Qantas 643, line up, runway 25.
Line up, runway 25, Qantas 643.
Alright, landing lights on, strobe position and strobe and steady. Transponder set to Tara. Engine mode selectors continuous, weather radar on. Before takeoff checklist, flaps 10, green light, stabilizer trim 4.5 units. Center the runway. About 10 minute taxi. Probably would have about a 20-minute taxi if we had to go all the way down to the end of runway 34 left.
Qantas 643, wind 10 degrees at 4 knots, runway 25, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 25, cleared for takeoff. Qantas 643.
Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Flaps 5. Flaps 1.
Qantas 643, contact Sydney, departure.
Autopilot
118.4.
arm.
Contact Sydney, departure 118.4. Qantas 643.
Flaps cleared. Anti-skid off.
Sydney departure. Qantas 643 at 2,000, climbing 3,300. Qantas 643, radar contact. Proceed direct CATM, continue climb. Flight level 130. Proceed direct CATM, continue climb. Flight level 130. Qantas 643.
Beautiful. See Sydney off, downtown Sydney there. Background. Always stunning. I haven't watched anything for the announcement for 2024 Flight Simulator, so I don't know if I don't know if there's more visual fidelity or what it is. I know they're probably adding some stuff. Alright, we're at 3,300. Let's continue to climb. And there you go. You can see kind of flying into a little bit of a low-level cloud fog. Right on our left, we have Bravo Whiskey Uniform, which is the Bankstown Aerodrome. Continuing our climb. Taxi lights and runway turn-off lights can come off. After takeoff checklist, engine bleeds on, packs, auto, landing gear up and off. Flaps up, no lights. After takeoff checklist complete. Beautiful takeoff here out of Sydney. Do need to figure out why I can't get my traffic injecting to work, but besides that, everything looks very beautiful. We got some clouds above, a little bit of fog, it looks like, along the rivers. But otherwise, a beautiful fall, early winter day. I mean, it's starting to move into winter, late fall. Technically, winter will be starting June 20th, June 21st here in Australia. So it's getting there. Obviously, no snow cover we can see, but getting there. I don't know how much snow they get in Sydney anyway, but we got some fog coming in. Alright, 10,000 feet, we can turn off the landing lights.
Level 190. Climb and maintain flight level 190. Qantas 643.
And we'll continue our climb up to flight level 190. Alright, what's really cool, this is something that they must just put in the update for Navigraphs. You can see there where you're doing your airport selection. It actually gives you if it's VFR or IFR conditions. This just changed, went to IFR. It was a VFR earlier while we were setting up, but now it's going to IFR. So if that remains IFR, you can see our alternates, Alice Springs, Busselton. I'm kind of regretting not flying out to Alice Springs and then from Alice Springs out to Perth, but maybe on the return we'll kind of do that or something, because when you fly from Perth you kind of end up flying kind of on the southern end of Australia, and I still think, I mean, it's beautiful down here. We kind of missed that nice red desert Mars landscape obviously over here, but once we hit the water it'll be off to our right and we'll be able to see a little bit of it. But if you fly into Alice Springs, you really fly right over the center of Australia. Watching this speed here getting pretty high. But we are auto thrust and everything. Your target speed right there, 0.801 Mach, 333 for our speed. So we're gonna really be hitting it hard here. Gonna zoom this out. You caught them coming up. We got a headwind of 25 knots, 26 knots. So that's kind of slowing things down.
Qantas 643, climb and maintain flight level 280. Contact Melbourne Center 119.8. Climb and maintain flight level 280. Contact Melbourne Center 119.8. Qantas 643. Melbourne Center Qantas 643 at flight level 140. Climbing flight level 280.
Qantas 643, radar contact. Continue climb, flight level 280.
Continue climb flight level 280. Qantas 643.
Yep, got a little bit of weather on the radar over Kadam. You can see the clouds and really beautiful. I'm loving this flight so far with the clouds. Just having a little bit of interesting cloud cover. We've kind of missed a little bit of that, where it's either it's just static, overcast, or it seems to be basically clear, except for maybe a few wisps here and there. Here we got a little bit of cloud, interesting cloud cover going on. We're flying through it. Everything looking good so far though. And weather-wise, looks pretty clear until we get to Maxim. Maxim, we got a little storm cell we're going to be crossing. Adelaide has a little bit of storms, but we should be above all that, so it won't be as big a deal. And then Perth also having some storms in the areas. how that goes. We're flying over New South Wales right now. We're going to cross a little bit into Victoria, the province of Victoria, or Victoria State. I'm not sure if they're states or provinces for Australia. Then we'll be crossing South Australia a little bit, then into the Great Australian Bight. We'll fly over Adelaide, that's in South Australia, and then we'll fly over just the southern tip of Western Australia into the capital of Western Australia, which is Perth. So on this flight, we're not going to be hitting Queensland or Northern Territory. If I was flying up to Alice Springs, we might get a little bit of Queensland and the Northern, obviously the Northern Territory, and fly over the Simpson Desert and all that. That's not going to happen on this world tour, but I do have a plan. Flights I want to start doing once we get into, once I get done with this world tour, or close to getting done with the world tour, I'm going to start doing flights based on just airlines. I just want to fly a flight from every airline. Now, that's going to be really hard just figuring out, okay, what flight do I want to fly from an airline, right? Because, you know, especially your big airlines like Southwest, United, Delta, American, Air France, Ryanair, they have so many routes. Which route do we do? And then you have other airlines where they have very few limited routes to choose from, planes to choose from also. But I'm kind of looking forward to doing that because it's going to allow us to go to a lot of places that we might have missed on the world tour. A lot of places we went in and out, and that's all. But now we can maybe do a domestic flight from a domestic flight in Sudan, or a domestic flight in, I mean, obviously India, some of these bigger countries too, where I gave the United States a lot of love because I live here. But I'd like to fly more in China, do a few, you know, within Japan, and with these doing a flight for every airline, you're gonna have a lot of opportunities to fly a lot of flights in certain countries. So that's kind of like my next, I think my next series of flights I want to do is kind of just fly a flight for every airline in the world that I can do. And depending on how Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 looks, and compatibility with third-party content that we've purchased for 2020, how that ports over to 2024, how much 2024 costs, and if I can afford it. But it'll probably be, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Most of my flights are going to be flying all those different airlines, and hopefully deliveries will port over and stuff too, because that's a big thing. If you can't get deliveries, well, then you can't really fly that airline. But a lot more flexibility on that series, I think, because
Flight level 340.
all right, 340, because if I can't fly, if let's say I don't have a livery for, you know, a certain airline at this point, I don't have to fly that airline until I do get a livery for it. Because with the world tour, it's like I've always been doing point to point to point and not skipping flights and stuff like that. So I think there'll be a little bit more freedom with that one, in the sense of, okay, where do you guys want to fly? Which flight would you like to see with, and you guys can even say, hey, I fly this airline and do that flight. And it'll be like, yeah, here we go, boom, let's do it. There are so many cool, and just looking through some liveries, like so many cool liveries out there for airlines that you've never heard of. Man, I can tell you, when we fly over a big landmass like this, and it's interesting. I mean, U.S. is kind of like this. I mean, Europe too, everywhere. I mean, just flying, and especially if there's clouds, it really, I mean, I'm still in awe of what Flight Simulator 2020 has done. We're gonna have to see what 2024 is gonna bring us. I'm gonna actually look that up on the other screen. I have not watched any coverage for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, except that I saw people talking about that was coming out. Some people saying, "Oh no, what's going to be the compatibility issue? Oh, things are not going to be compatible. You know, so your PMDG, you're going to have to buy it again." I'm fingers crossed we don't have to buy a ton of stuff again. That it's kind of a. They say it's going to be a completely new game, but I've seen things where they've said it's like, yeah, but there will be backwards compatibility with a lot of these planes and things, which I hope so. And I hope the third-party content creators also want that and are not going to be like, oh, well, it's a new sim and we gotta do like one or two pieces of maybe one or two things to update it so it works with 2024. you know, for example, the 737 here, PMDG, or PMDG and everyone else going to just go, oh, well, now everyone's going to have to buy all these planes again for $70 a pop. Because that's, I think, if that's what the winds start shifting like that, you're going to see I feel like the market, the sim market is going to crash in the next year if we find out that people are just going to be, you know, it's not going to be compatible what you buy now, or they're not going to give you credit, a lot of these third-party companies. So that's going to be a big thing. I think a lot of third-party companies are going to give credit if you buy something for 2020 right towards, you know, last, you know, half year before 2024 drops. And then they're like, well, we're going to have to make a new product and we're going to charge for that. And so that's a big one that I'm worried about, because I've dumped a bunch of money into this. Not as much money as a lot of people, but enough money that it's kind of hurts. So MSF 2024. Let's see what we got pop up here. What? There we go. Over here. Hang it up nicely. Alright, so we got during the Xbox Games Showcase, Microsoft announced Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, the newly announced title coming in 2024. Oh, wow, interesting right there. Looks to expand on the 2020 release with a range of new features and types of flight. Now, again, I guess, you know, I think I'm coming from the, like, I haven't played American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator 2 in a while, but those have been out for nearly a decade now. 7 years for American Truck Simulator. So I guess time's just flying. It just seems like time is flying. It's like, yeah, I mean, if you should have a new updated, you know, game every 2, 3, 4 years is nice, but at the same time, you invest a lot of money in a sim, and that's why you're almost like, okay, well, can it just be like a small upgrade for most of us, and we just pay like $10 or something? In the trailer, we saw the following new missions and features: search and rescue missions, aerial firefighting, helicopter cargo transport, air ambulance, agricultural aviation, mountain rescue, skydive aviation, aerial construction, industrial cargo transport, remote cargo ops, VIP charter services, air racing, glider pilot, scientific research, airship tours, hot air balloon trips, executive transport service. So what it's sounding like, and let's look at some of these screenshots. What it sounds like is that this is going to be, basically it's, Flight Simulator 2020 was like the big full reboot. It was the, let's bring Microsoft Flight Simulator back. It hadn't come out since, 2004, I think. But if you go back to 2004, you go back to Flight Simulator X, they had lots of these kind of missions. I never played those a lot, but they had a lot of these missions. And I think that was a big thing that I was excited about with Microsoft Flight Simulator coming. I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to have a next-gen or current-gen version of all that and have all these missions and stuff. And we really didn't get it. They got some of their air races and stuff, and then you had to buy the air races. You had to buy some of these things as expansion packs. And I never really got into it because, again, I made my own thing. It's like, oh, I just want to fly airliners. Okay, whatever. But really cool to have all these options. So here you can see we got the, what is that called? Is that called a beluga, I think, for transporting the Airbus parts? That'd be really cool to fly if that comes with it. Again, what my concern with things that come stock with the sim is how how good are they going to be out of the box? Because we saw how good the Airbus, you know, how some of these planes are and still are. We can't even talk about the Airbus A320 anymore because most people don't fly the vanilla version, the Zobo version of the Airbus A320. They fly the fly-by-wire, which has made that plane way better than out of the box, the stock version. Skydiving, oh, that's cool. I mean, that's gonna be cool to add that stuff in. And what I'm really curious is how is the world gonna look? Or, you know, now is this real in-game footage? I mean, this looks beautiful, but you know, especially this. I mean, how much is this gonna be here? The fire rescue, or this is like the helicopter rescue. I mean, how's that gonna work? You know, looks really cool. So. I almost wonder, do they have to make it a whole new game? I suppose they have to make it a new game just because, you know, and when they say make it a new game, are they going to fix a lot of the problems we're having with 2020 so that it makes it that they can put this stuff in and it actually works? That looks really cool. I mean, that's going to be cool. I mean, I think that some of this stuff will be pretty cool little things. VIP stuff, well, that's cool to have. Are they going to add, is this going to kind of make stuff like GSX Pro? I mean, that's a big thing too. It's like, how much stuff are you going to add in that's going to eliminate the need for some third-party content, stuff like seasons, stuff like this, VIP stuff, but also just regular airports and jetway stuff, really adding more into the stock game. That's pretty cool to have the weather. I mean, I don't think we see tornadoes really in the sim, do we? Looks a little, but it's always a problem when you have kind of a stock world that's being kind of generated in, then you kind of are trying to put weather on top of it, especially destructive weather like that. That's kind of cool. More air racing, remote cargo ops. Thing is, a lot of this I feel like it's just going to be just a little more eye candy, really, not, you know, some of that. The trailer teased this as the next generation of flight simulation. So is this going to be the next generation that we already have? Simulator would take full advantage of the latest technology. I hope so. This includes cloud and machine learning, as it will be powered by a significantly evolved Zobo Studio engine. In a post on the Flight Simulator blog, it has been confirmed that this is a brand new entry into the series, not simply a paid-for DLC or expansion pack. Which kind of makes me, it's like I hope that it's fixing the problems of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, because if it's just going to be a repackaged, I mean, I feel like a lot of this is just DLC, but maybe it's such a big DLC that it almost is a whole new game. All right, here we got some more screenshots. Really cool. I mean, there you go. You got that weather back there again still. That looks pretty cool. Like, I'm hoping that they've upgraded the graphics, some of the assets even. The biggest thing for me, I mean, a lot of this looks really good. It always looks good when you're showing like stuff kind of out in the middle of nowhere. The things that I want upgraded are the airports themselves. I mean, it's so disappointing when you fly into a city and you got all that beautiful orthophotographic stuff, and it's really beautiful, but you come in and then the taxiways are all mucked up and the lines are all screwed up and you have terrain issues. I mean, Denver International Airport is still a mess. I think Las Vegas at first had like a big dip, and you know, that just kills the immersion. Jetways that work, and having a way to figure out how to auto-generate airports based on satellite imagery or whatever, but have jetways that work, have things that work, and make that system work better. And especially when you have, and especially go through and give us, you know, at least, maybe they don't have to be 100% bespoke, but at least go through all your major world airports and go through and just make sure those are clean. It's so disappointing flying into an airport. And I get, even Denver, I believe, is a bespoke airport and has all those issues, which is really annoying. So I hope they fix that kind of stuff. I mean, this looks wonderful, right? Beautiful. Looks beautiful. I mean, are they going to add in you being able to walk to your plane and stuff? I mean, that's what it kind of I mean, these screenshots make it look like. That's really cool to have cropped up. That'd be pretty cool. Again, that'd be really cool to have those different kind of missions that you can do, and then you can basically simulate kind of having an air career. That'd be pretty cool to have a career mode built in even. I don't know if it'd be better or worse. Sometimes third-party careers you can do better because Zobo will probably muck it up and then take forever to actually make it proper. But it'd be pretty cool to be able to, oh, okay, I'm fresh out of flight school. I've done some flight instructing, or I don't want to do flight instructing. I'm going to go be a crop duster and try to build up my hours that way. Or I'm going to go be a map, doing mapping or doing that scientific flying and stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool to have those missions because that's what it allows you to do. But I wonder how many of the missions are going to be anywhere too, or or certain areas where it would make sense to have them, but not just like, oh, you can do this mission in 2 or 3 spots. But no, there's going to be big areas, especially like mapping. I mean, mapping's everywhere, technically. That's pretty cool. There's some hot air balloons. That's going to be pretty cool. Just the different stuff. I think it gets often overlooked. I know there is a hot air balloon mod out there that you can purchase to fly hot air balloons. I sometimes think it's like, well, that's not really, doesn't really have a place in Flight Simulator. It's like, but it does. It does. Gliders do. Hot air balloons do. All these helicopters do. It's like, basically anything that can be in the air has a place in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Duh, it's a flight, and you got this world mapped out. Obviously, having cars drive, it would be cool if you could drive cars around on the roads. I mean, that would take a little bit more to make the actual what's happening on the surface on our world here look more realistic. But at least as far as, I mean, that's really cool. The animals. I think it doesn't blow us away. I mean, because we have done, we have 2020, and so now these are it's kind of building on it. It really is building on it. Saw that one already. There we got our airship. That'd be pretty cool to fly those around. Alright, anything else? Third-party developers have shared online their surprise. This is the big one that I'm a little worried about. Is that you have a lot of third-party people going, wow, we're as surprised as you. It's like, that's scary because you have PMDG, you have some of these third-party. I can understand maybe Fly-by-Wire not getting a heads up because Fly-by-Wire is doing the free Airbus A380. They're not doing something for pay. But I would think these studios that are making products that people are going to be paying good money for and could possibly be dropping them in the next week or month or 3 months, and people are going to be like now kind of going, well, do I want to spend $70 on 777 or something? Let's say the 777 from PMDG comes out. I don't know what PMDG is working out, but it's going to be $70, right? Are you going to want to drop $70 on something that you're not sure is going to work with 2024? Or if PMDG has to kind of put out there, it's like, no, we're going to give you credit. If you buy it for this, then you can use it in 2024 for 2024. But it's going to be right here. You can see available day 1 for Xbox Game Pass, PC Game Pass, and Xbox Cloud Gaming. I don't know what this means. All these Game Passes. I mean, oh, okay, and Steam. All right, Windows 10 and 11. All right. You see. So let's look at a few. This is actually from one of the stats. I can see I'm a little floored by this. On one hand, so much free content over the last 3 years has been fantastic. I don't think anybody can fault a Zobo for that, or say that 2020 was a bad deal for $60. No, I mean the flight simulator itself, I paid $120. I got the premium, so I mean I always kind of subscribe to the old Funhouse idea. You guys know the guys on Funhouse back. The idea that it's like you should get at least an hour of gameplay for every hour or every dollar you spend on the game. So I've spent $120 on the base game. I've gotten more than 120 hours of enjoyment on a flight simulator. Now let's add up all the other stuff, and the deal doesn't come as well because I've spent $10 on games and played those thousands of hours, and this one I played only probably close to 2,000 eventually. And how much have I actually flown? On the other hand, this certainly raises a lot of questions. For one, does it mean development on Flight Simulator 2020 will cease? Presumably not, but then will the development team's resources be split between maintaining 2 products? Yeah, that's a big question. how much support can you actually have for 2020, like development, adding new things, fixing old things, if you're going to have a whole new ecosystem, right? Will add-ons transfer over? It looks to be on the same engine, but could there be a direct port / minimal adjustments like with X-Plane 11 and 12? I know I and the whole team here are looking forward to flying out for FS Expo in 2 weeks to get all the answers. Yeah, this is wishful thinking here. Maybe people who already have 2020 will get it for free or with a huge discount. I don't think so. I think this was true. You know, MSFS 2020 will be unavailable. They probably won't sell it once 2024 comes out because there's no reason to buy 2020. If you're coming into the flight sim world and you want to jump in, I would just jump in with 2024, just like with 2020. There's no reason to buy the old one. Yeah, it's just, you look at some of these comments. Yeah, I doubt this though. I would like to believe this. Yeah, I'd like to believe that it's kind of like, I think the big thing is they said it's going to be a new game versus what we had with when they came out with the 40th anniversary edition, where it just suddenly you had that big update. They added a bunch of planes for free. So I'm gonna read Boris Korva. I would like to believe this, but they say it will be a standalone simulator, so it will exist alongside FS 2020. My theory is that it seems that Microsoft has switched to a Dovetail Games business model, releasing the same product again periodically. If it's not next gen, if all the FS 2020 plugins are compatible. Come on. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is where I'm a little confused because I feel like Microsoft Flight Simulator used to have games every few years. It would come out, you know, fully paid games you have to pay for. Now, I don't know the compatibility for things between that. Most of us spend 60 to 120 euro/dollars 2 to 3 years ago for the base game that has been regularly updated for free with new content, world and sim update. And let's be honest, with the world we live in now, I guess it is just not enough for a project like this to run for a decade. So they will re-release it, brand it with a new year, and make as many of us as possible to pay again, because they will regularly update only the new version and let FS 2020 slowly die and fade away again. Yeah, this is the Dovetail Games model is, and this is the one where I get it all the time, because Dovetail Games they've got they own Train Simulator, but they also have Train Sim World, and I get so confused by this, because Train Simulator you'll see all the time. It's like, oh, Train Simulator 2020, Train Simulator 2021. Simulator 2022, and when you look at it, it's actually the same game. Nothing's really changed, and it's all backward compatibility. And so you don't really need to buy a new one. And it's almost the same now with the Train Sim World. It actually is a new game, but it's the same game, and nothing's really updated majorly. So that's what's really annoying. Yeah, here the 10-year project. This is kind of the lies. I think a lot of people are feeling that this feels like a lie, because when I heard that it was going to be 10 years, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy 2020, and they're not going to come out with a brand new product where they're going to want to say, hey, we're going to stop supporting this. We're building the new game. Fork over 60, 70, $100 for the new sim, and we're going to start all over. Which by 2030, I would be, you know, even. I don't know where my cutoff is, but they said 10 years, 2030. Okay, I'll give you some more money by 2030. Now, when I really think about it, it's like you have people who pay for Madden football every year. I paid for Madden football every other year when I was younger, and I played it a lot. And even that, Madden football very rarely had between even 2 years of additions wasn't a big change. Now this is 4 years, so there will be some change, but yeah. So let's see. I keep reading this. Lies from the very beginning. Management decided to change the business model. And also, I have never perceived the world and sim updates as something I'm getting extra for free, but something that was included in the initial price. Yeah, I feel like that should be included in the initial price, and I was counting with it from the start with such clear development pipeline. Yeah, I feel like the world updates, it's just kind of like they got the product out and then they were adding those things in. I don't feel like that stuff should be like, well, we're giving you more value. It's like, really? You promised this huge world and you sold us on this beautiful world, but then we go in and Washington, D.C. looks like a pit, right? You know, half the places don't look finished. you know, obviously you can't finish everywhere, but obviously there are places that should be finished pretty well. About the 10-year project promise, one can argue that they've never said that they will not be releasing any more upgraded versions in the future with the continuous support of the 2020. That could mean that 2020 will work in 2030, but the development of the new features will focus on the most recent version. Well, this was quickly corrected. No content will be locked, yet for Amir, who's a Phoenix, this will be a kick in the teeth as he won't be able to charge twice for his product. Well, this is the big thing, and we'll put that away now. But the big thing is that we have to remember that Microsoft and Azobo is different, and third-party developers are two separate groups. They work together, but they're two separate groups, right? So PMDG might charge us twice between the two series. Oh, man, look at that beautiful. Whew. All right, let's get into, there we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. But with the... I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, so Microsoft, they're going to offer 2024. Now you have the choice to get 2024. I'm sure a lot of people are just going to get 2024 because they get the new features, they get the new missions, content. You know, probably most new content's going to be starting to be made for 2024. Is going to be focused on 2024 stuff. And so I think buying Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is not the issue. I think most people, okay, for me, I can see paying $60 to $100 for Microsoft Flight Simulator every 4 years. I think that's, and 4 years is not terrible because again, now in simulators are a whole different thing, but a lot of these, yearly titles, I mean, you see people will spend $60, $70 on Madden football every year, and they very, very little additional features besides it's a glorified roster update most of the time, and maybe some uniform updates. That's about it. Most of the time they barely do anything, and oftentimes it goes backwards. So I'm okay with getting Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, paying $60 to $120. I might pay only $60 and just forego some planes or content, though that extra $60 actually, you kind of make that decision if you want the premium or not. I do believe content creators should build their content for basic and not for premium, because that's kind of bullcrap that you're charging for a product that can't work unless someone has bought the most expensive product of the simulator itself. But the key then becomes, okay, if between 2020 and 2024 there's not a big engine overhaul, there's not a whole bunch of stuff that has been added in that's going to require the creators of these planes, like the PMDG that we're flying in right now, to have to do a whole overhaul of their plane, that the product that I bought here in 2020 should be able to port over to 2024. Obviously, they'll have to download a new package for 2024 possibly, but if everything's very similar and 2024 allows PMDG to access things like the weather radar, I think PMDG, it's on PMDG, now it's on Phoenix, now it's on Aerosoft and the various different companies to say, okay, we're going to give you a credit for our 2024 version of this plane, or we're going to charge a $5 fee maybe, or again a credit. It's just going to be free because you already paid for this plane, it works, and we can actually give you the full experience that we promised, but we were never able to deliver because the game engine wasn't there yet. Now it is there. Those things have been tweaked and fixed in 2024. Now you can get the weather radar. Now you can get this, you can get that. Now, obviously, if you buy the 2020 version of, the PMDG, and then 2032, you get Microsoft Flight Simulator 2032, and you're like, well, I bought the PMDG in 2020. Why does it not work for this? At some point, there will be a point where you're going to need to buy the new. There'll be a new version of the PMDG stuff and a new version of the Phoenix and whatever it is. But I think, hopefully, and again, this is where the third-party content creators are in a sense enabled by Microsoft and Azobo, but don't have to if they don't need to charge double. I'm sure a lot of them will though, unfortunately. Okay, so I don't know why we weren't seeing any planes in Sydney, but we have Toll Freight 23 popped over the radar for Melbourne Center, so I don't know why. I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's turn off the seatbelt signs. Passengers roam about. And it's looking beautiful out there. We're going to turn on the time acceleration. We have 4 hours left on this flight, and I have about 2 hours to probably do it. So we're going to bump up. So we're at double time. We're going to go 4 times.
Sim rate 4.
We're on sim rate 4. We're going to get to see the country flying by just a little bit faster. Alright, let's see if we can find... I'm going to try to find that trailer, and hopefully I can show you the trailer and not get dinged by YouTube. First video comes up. The new MSFS 2024 is confusing from Swiss 001. He just posted that video, so go check him out too for that. But let's see if I can find the trailer. Yeah, see, you can tell I'm not a content creator because all the big content creators, all the medium content creators, everyone's got a video on this, and I suck at making videos. I just don't have the time to do it. I want to be able to fly. I don't know how I don't know how people do it, how they get all the footage put together. I don't know how they do it. Because when I record footage, it's always, it's bad. I can't get nice, smooth, beautiful cameras. I don't know if these content creators just get a bunch of footage made up at some point and then they just have it on hand to always use. I don't know how they do it. And they do it so fast. It's like 5 minutes after something's announced. Here's my reaction. Oh, okay. Let's see. I can't see. The trailer. I just want the trailer. I don't want reactions to the trailer because I want to react to the trailer. Alright, looks like X. Yeah. Here's going to be the trailer. Let's pull it up over here. So. Yep. Alright, here we go. We'll go like this. We'll go theater mode. Bring it up. Alright, here we go. Oops. Alright, give me a second. And that music off and turn on this music. Okay, notice, first thing I noticed was a few seconds back when it first starts, you see in-game footage, right? Right here, it says in-game footage. So that's really cool, really cool. And then it's not in-game footage. So is this is probably not in-game footage, I'm guessing. A lot of that. Yeah, noticing no in-game footage yet. All this is, you know, rendered. It looks like in-game footage, but does not say in-game footage anywhere. So I don't know if they just forgot that. That's what I was wondering with like these right here, the like all these little cutscenes. That's pretty cool. Basically, we've seen most of this stuff in the screenshots. All right, that was a cool shot right there where it showed seasons. So what kind of stinks about it?
Play it day one with Game Pass.
All right. What kind of stinks about that is that they're giving us some stuff that they've been promising to add in here in Flight Simulator. Like, it's been on the horizon. Oh, we're gonna have seasons. We're gonna have this, and now it's like, oh no, you got to get the new game. Now, I'm not against it. Buying the next version, I might. Depends. It's going to depend on where we are financially, what I'm doing next year. Because, like I've said, my plan is to go to flight school, and so I might just not have that money to be spending on Flight Simulator, figuring that stuff out. So maybe I take off and don't get it until 2028 or whatever, Flight Simulator. But it'll be a possibility. It really depends also on what happens with the third-party content. That's going to be the biggest question right now, and we're not going to know that until Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 comes out, and then PMDG and Phoenix and all these different third-party guys decide what they're going to do and what they can give to people who have already bought their product. And it's not unprecedented. You see this with X-Plane, and you see this with Prepared 3D, that when it comes out with a new version and they need to have an updated version of it. It's like, well, if you bought the 737 PMDG for X-Plane 11, well, now you can get the version for X-Plane 12, but it's going to cost you only $10 versus $70 up there. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff there. I'm going to be more interested to see in the next year, like just general game stuff, or general world stuff, as far as how much are they going to bring over, like everything that they have in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 as far as scenery. Are they going to bring that over? Are they going to bring over the world updates, everything they've already carved out and built in 2020? Are you going to start with that in 2024 and then add on more world updates? What planes are going to come over? Are we going to start back with day one, or again, are we going to be able to bring in some stuff and continue with it, flying in a really cool way? I'm interested to see the seasons. Are they going to bring seasons in? Are they going to finally get the weather radar working? And that's where I think like people like PMDG, Phoenix, you got to throw us a bone, because PMDG has still not given us the EFB. They still haven't given us the weather radar. And I'm hoping that with 2024 they can implement those things. Maybe we get that credit, or we pay another $5 or something. You can see how fast the clouds are forming up because we're zipping through so fast. So Flight Simulator has to draw the clouds in that we're catching up on. Here's this weather system, probably over Adelaide. We're coming up on Adelaide. Or actually, we're coming up on Maxim, that waypoint. And we do have a bunch of weather. Now, we're over it, so we're not in too bad a spot. You can kind of see that landscape of Australia, not as pronounced as further up towards the Simpson Desert, where it's super red, and we still haven't reached the Bight yet. Once we get to Adelaide, we'll be off over the water. Not as much We have a little bit of land beneath us as we go into a little bit of Victoria, state of Victoria, and we're going to be headed into then South Australia pretty soon. As I was saying earlier, we are going to, my plan is after I do this world tour and I finally finish doing this world tour thing, going into every country and territory in the world, I'm going to basically just start doing random flights based on airlines. I'm going to do a United flight, and then I'm going to do a Southwest flight, and then I'm going to do a Indigo flight or whatever. I'm just, knocking out all these different airlines. A lot of airlines which I would have loved to have flown on this world tour, but I don't want to fly 7 or 8 or 12 flights in one country. But a lot of domestic airlines that I haven't shown off on this, and so many great liveries out there, so many great places we can also go. Kind of interesting watching the engine, the cloud engine, trying to work with doing a 4x speed, building in the. But I'm trying to just take a look at all the different airlines in the world, and that's going to allow us to fly some more ATR flights, CRJ flights. It's also going to let us fly a lot more short domestic flights for some of these, and go to a lot of airports where, when I'm on the world tour, I'm usually trying to hit the biggest airport in the country that we're going to, especially the smaller countries. I'm not flying into a small domestic terminal because we're doing international a lot of times. So we're going to have some Australian flights. Well, hey, Patricia Guggenheim, welcome in. But we'll have, once I do that, that's going to be my next flying project, kind of, is going to be, my flying series is going to be flying every airline in the world, which will take probably as long, if not way longer, than this world tour has taken. But it'll probably be a little less complicated than flying from A to B to B to C, C to D, and just because my world tour flight has been a continuous, a line. I've never skipped a flight. I've never gone from, let's say, Sydney, and then I jump, and now I'm flying from Paris to Berlin. It's always Sydney. I need to get from Sydney to Berlin somehow, and so I have to do all the flights in between, right? Whereas when I start doing this flying every airline, it's just gonna be like, okay, I need to fly Nepal Air or whatever. Okay, we're gonna fly out of Kathmandu and we're gonna fly to wherever. Oh, we're gonna fly Indigo. Okay, we're gonna fly from Kolkata to New Delhi or whatever it is. So it's gonna be really cool to be able to fly to different airports and stuff, and that's probably gonna end up being the series that we'll do once we get into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Hopefully, the liveries port over, or we have a lot of. That's gonna be the biggest thing, is that it's gonna really mess things up as far as that. I guess when Flight Simulator 2024 comes out, the fact is we're gonna have 2020 still. It's still gonna work. We're still gonna have all the content we have right now. And as long as they don't turn off the maps, the data, coming in, the photogrammetry data and all that coming in, we'll still be able to do 2020. And probably I'm sure a lot of people will use 2020 quite a bit until 2024 catches up with content, liveries. You have to remember back when we first started in 2020, we had no liveries. You were flying around. You had like you had a few livery packs, but you didn't have. Now it's like I look up an airline that I've never heard of, like some small airline. It's got like 5 or 6 planes in the whole airline. I look it up and boom, there's a livery for the A320X. Oh, there's a livery for the CRJ. Oh, there's a livery for the ATR, the new ATRs. It's so cool. And this is so cool. Look at all the cloud cover, and yeah. So we got a little bit of weather down there. We're coming up on Adelaide. Actually, right over Adelaide, just about now. Coming up on it. Yeah, look at it. Flying a little fast, right? Now, when you say around the world, you're just doing around the world. You're not trying to get into every country, right? All those clouds, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. See the bite coming up. Okay, right over Adelaide. I can't see any Adelaide because it's pretty much socked in by clouds. It's right down there, right below us. See a little bit of it peeking through. Beautiful. So Patricia's going to be doing an around the world flight on her flight infinite flight sim infinite flight. So yeah, around the world. I know a lot of people have done around the world projects where they've flown. They're just basically just circumventing the world, right? So you're flying, let's say, New York to Paris, Paris to Moscow, Moscow to, you know, Beijing, you know, basically. Oh, so you're going to be trying to fly into most countries. Cool. Yep, that's what my world tour's been. I've been flying into every country in the world. So it's not been just going around the world, but it's been everywhere, just hitting every little tiny country that I can get into. And so it's a easy and hard way to figure out what flights to do, but it kind of always gives you, it's like, you know what that next flight's going to be or where you need to kind of go and kind of plan which ones make sense to fly. But that's why I keep saying, like, the airline one is going to be a little bit more freeform, because basically it's like, oh, okay, someone wants, I mean, you guys can even almost direct, it can almost be directed a little bit, because you can say, hey, can you do a flight from, I know I have one person who was watching, he's like, can we fly into Miami? Okay. Yeah, we can fly into Miami, and we can do any number of airlines going into Miami, right? You know, you can do United, American, Southwest, Spirit, Frontier, Silver Airways, all these ones, right? So, you know, someone says, hey, can you do a flight from, you know, some Russian city off in the steppe, you know, to some other Russian city in the steppe. It's like, okay, cool, I can do that because, you know, world tour wise doesn't help me at all, but I can knock out an airline. I can figure out what airline does that route, and boom, let's fly it, right? So kind of looking forward to that. Like I said, that's probably going to be part of probably flying it in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, maybe starting it in 2020. Depends if I get 2024. Again, like I said, going to be you'll still haven't nailed everything down, but the plan is by next May we should be renting out this house, hopefully renting out the whole house. I go stay with a friend or something, that way you can really save money on paying for this place. And my wife and son, they'll go back to China for a year. I'll do my flight training. I'll start flight instructing, hopefully flight instructing in the area here, so we can move back into this house when I'm doing that or whatever it is. And if not, then have to rent somewhere else, and I hope it's a cool, warm place. So we're going to be flying down here in the Bight, Great Australian Bight, so we're going to kind of lose our land now, which kind of sucks. I mean, I really wish, but it's kind of that Great Circle route kind of thing. But I wish, part of me wishes I had done what I did in X-Plane, where I flew from the east coast to Alice Springs, which is right in the middle of the desert, then down to Perth or over. Because then you really got to see most of the Australian continent. Now we're just going to get more water. Ooh, yippee. Oh well. I guess I could have done a different route. Could have planned the route to stay along the coast up there, but we'll do it this way. Maybe when we fly from Perth back to Brisbane, I'll kind of make sure that the route stays over land, so we can see some, at least a little bit more of the land. We're not going to be far enough north to get most of that desert, the Simpson Desert and all that, but better. Get down here and we'll get to see the Southern Ocean and the Great Australian Bight. Port Lincoln right there. Yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, mixed reactions, lots of surprise for it. But we'll see. Let's see if we can find anything. Let's see what else we can find. Kind of just reactions. And I mean, there's a ton of reactions on YouTube, obviously. Let's Okay, so this is helisimmer.com. I'm just going to read it to you so you can keep watching the views. By Sergio Costa. After the shock, my first thoughts on the MSFS 2024 announcement. I guess it's because we're not used to having Microsoft Flight Simulator come out every 2, 3, 4 years. It used to come out, and then it was, what, 2004 until 2020. You had 16 years where you didn't have a new one, or 10 years where you didn't have a new one. Benjamin Guggenheim of the Titanic. There was a Guggenheim on the Titanic? My second great grand uncle. Cool. I'm assuming you're related to, that's the same Guggenheim as the Guggenheim Museum in New York, yeah? Alright, so this is by Sergio Costa, my first thoughts on the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 announcement. 4 years after the announcement of a new sim and the return to the market, Microsoft stunned the community once again with the unveiling of Flight Simulator 2024. Shock. That was what I felt when my good friend Drew sent me a message saying, MSFS 2024? My first reaction was, must be someone trying to rip the community off, or some clickbait by someone that's trying to make some more sense on YouTube. That was my first thought at first, too. I was like, maybe this is just someone, you know, it's very easy to just Photoshop a 2024 onto the logo, and, there you go. Oh boy, it was not, and it took me a few seconds to digest what I was looking at. Firefighting, search and rescue with a hoist, cargo sling loading, air ambulance, agricultural missions, aerial construction. The list went on, and a lot of that stuff was specifically for helicopters. That trailer is amazing. Yeah, that's a big thing, too, to note. There's a lot more helicopter content. And that's what I think we're seeing here, is it's the evolution, right? You got 2020 came out. It was a whole new, let's get Flight Simulator back in the market, back in this new generation, really tap into all this cool technology, blow away prepared 3D and X-Plane as far as graphics and the world goes. And then bring planes in, get the third parties back in working in this ecosystem. And you're seeing more jets are coming out, fighter jets, and a lot more helicopters coming in. And so now 2024, boom, helicopters. We got to get missions for helicopters. After the initial shock and the second shock after watching all the new features, I started wondering about the same things most of us probably wondered about too. Is this an update or a new version? Will previous add-ons be compatible? I first thought it was an update, but then Microsoft slowly started to clarify things a bit more on Twitter and on their FAQ too. This is a new version, and it is compatible with MSFS 2020 add-ons. Well, most add-ons should be compatible. As Microsoft puts it, with very few exceptions, virtually all add-ons that work in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 today will function in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Okay, that's a good thing. That's a positive, but we'll see. People won't have to re-buy add-ons either. Now, this is a big thing because a lot of people that are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, myself included, but I do know about the past. I do know there was a past Microsoft Flight. There was Flight Simulator before. I didn't play it a ton, but I did dabble here and there. I never bought it myself, but it's like, oh, here's some discs, and oh, this is cool. But never really got into it. And if you think about it, this goes in line with what happened already before Microsoft left the market. Remember, FS95, FS98, FS2000, 2002, 2004, FSX. See, every 2 years. So we're people are freaking out right now. Oh, wait, it's only been 4 years. And that's how I was initially. But then I think about it, it's like, well, it was every 2 years. Most things are almost every 2 years. All those different versions that were released and add-ons that were bought for the previous version didn't have to be bought for the new version. Of course, there were breaking changes back then as technology progressed far quicker than today and things had to be broken. Fortunately, Microsoft seems to be trying to keep things easy to maintain and upkeep. And that's what I've been saying. My hope is that with the new version, with the new stuff that they add in, that they make it that PMDG can give us the full what we bought with these 737s. Phoenix can add in, the radars and stuff like that, more stuff will be able to be brought in that's sitting there that PMDG already has. They just need a Zobo to give them the key to a little part of the game engine, and boom, there it is. Trisha, yes, the same Guggenheim as the museum, since Solomon Robert Guggenheim is the older brother of Benjamin and my second great-grandfather, William. Alright, so Microsoft Flights... This doesn't mean it will always be like this, and some breaking changes will eventually occur. And that's not a bad thing. Progress has to be made if we want the product to thrive and respond to our needs. It can't just be stale for the sake of safeguarding old add-ons. Fortunately, those breaks are not coming yet. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 seems to be focused on bringing a career mode, which I was saying too, it's like that'd be pretty cool, which will allow us to perform a bunch of different tasks. This makes me wonder about a bunch of things. Will this mode focus on a single line of work, or do we jump from job to job? Will I be able to be an SAR pilot through that career, or do I perform SAR, then firefighting, then air ambulance, and so on? Can we play those missions outside a structured career mode? Are those missions purely scripted, or are there randomly generated missions as well? I know these are tough questions, especially because of the implications they have. A random mission generator? That's not something easy to do. But it would be amazing to see and have it in the sim. Considering everything we have seen Microsoft and Azobo do so far, that sounds like the logical next step to me. When MSFS was first announced, I was skeptical. Microsoft then invited me to take a peek at it back in 2019, and I was overwhelmed by what I saw. The sim has grown on me since its release, and it is taking space in my simming time that I wasn't expecting it to take. Yeah, it's taken over all my thing, but granted, X-Plane was all my time before, once we moved back to America, and I only have this time. When Drew sent me that message, I wasn't sure what to expect, and I was both shocked and skeptical until I watched the first few seconds. Firefighting? Hell yeah! Helicopters left and right? Alright, you got me. Now deliver it, Microsoft, just like you did before. I'm excited about this announcement, cautiously excited, more than I was with the original announcement of MSFS, since Microsoft and Azobo proved what they can do. Yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I also, as long as they don't go backwards in 2024, as long as they don't take a step back to, because they've gone from 2020 and we're now in 2023, and Microsoft Flight Simulator has progressed a lot. There are still a lot of things that are not working, but it's way better than it was day one. Now, if 2024 takes us back to day one 2020, that's not good. It needs to be an advancement. It needs to go, we need to be able to go from, maybe you sit on Microsoft 2020 or Flight Simulator 2020 for a few months while they work out some of the bugs, but it doesn't completely go, okay, this is a whole new game, we're starting over, which it doesn't sound like they're doing. And no, everything's not perfect, but let's take a step back and look at what they accomplished so far with a brand new sim, absolutely insane technology, and by listening to the community. And yes, I believe they are listening. They may not be able to act upon the feedback they get as fast as we would like, or at all, but I know that they are listening since I have been seeing a lot coming to the sim that I may have had a finger or two in as I have spoken to Microsoft in the past. I'm glad things are progressing and that Microsoft is looking at MSFS as a successful franchise. If they weren't, a new version would probably not be signed off, but it was, and that's a good sign to me. But that is actually the way I'm looking at it. Progress. We have no reasons to believe at this time that this new version isn't being built on top of the previous one, adding to it rather than taking things out. Again, that's the big key. Hopefully they don't take things out, because that has been a problem with so many game series where it's like, okay, you added all this great stuff, you built on you put it out originally, and then you added on DLC, and then you came out with the next version, and it basically reverts to the version with zero DLC, zero any fixes, and we have to rebuild everything. It's like, no. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 should be built, or 2024 should be going off of what Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is in Microsoft Flight in 2024. So by next year, whatever the sim looks like, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 looks like in 2024, that's what Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 should be starting at least. And then adding on, right? That's my fear, is that they're going to cut back stuff and mess things up. I'm eager to check out the new version and see how much more we will get in the future. Right now, MSFS 2024 is looking like an amazing new version for everyone, but especially for helicopter pilots. And yeah, that's a big thing. It looks like there's more stuff for helicopter pilots to do. And a focus on making sure that that's stuff there. Yeah, that's my big thing. I'm wondering. I have to look. It's like I'm wondering if X-Plane 11 to 12. I feel like that stuff. There's stuff compatible. Maybe not, but that's again. There's a big version jump, and usually those versions last a few years. Again, I don't know, but I'm curious to see, because it's not for sure, but like how much stuff is going to be compatible, what's going to break, what's not going to break, what's going to be not necessary anymore. So maybe you'll have add-ons that you paid for that won't be necessary with 2024 because, for example, they add in a first officer mode, or they add in seasons, which looks like at least from the trailer they showed some seasons, but I feel like even the original trailer for 2020 had season. Still haven't had. Patricia, my flight sim has 3 modes: free flight, flight training, and missions. Yeah, basically, flight simulator, I would say I do free flight, because I think flight simulator basically is the same thing. You have free flight, you have flight training. It's not real. I haven't dived deep into it, but it's a little bit basic. It's not completely realistic, the flight training. And then missions, yeah, we have the missions. We got the landing challenge. I don't like the landing challenges because it's very unrealistic, because you come in and you drop in and you're fighting to get the plane set up, and then by that point you're not really landing properly. They need to start you out a lot further out in a stable state. Problem is it drops you in and the sim does not understand what's going on. Now that's something they need to work on. So maybe that's something they update in 2024, that you're going to plop someone into the middle of a flight, that when they plop into the middle of a flight, the plane is in autopilot, flying the proper course at the right altitudes for wherever you are in the, if you're coming in for a landing at LAX, you shouldn't be at 20,000 feet and just nose diving with no autopilot 5 miles out from the airport. That's not how landing works. Unless that's the mission, to save a crashing plane or whatever, I guess. But they have, they got the Top Gun missions. But yeah, nothing. I don't think they really added anything in yet that harkens back to the old days at the turn of the century, the FS 98 2000, where you had firefighting and construction and different stuff like that, crop dusting. That I think is going to be cool, and I probably will jump into those missions, because that's something I thought was going to come with 2020, because I figured, oh, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's going to have stuff like that, versus X-Plane. When I got X-Plane is bare bones. There really aren't any missions. I think there might be some missions on there, actually, but they're kind of bare bones. I mean, X-Plane is very much a simulator, whereas Microsoft Flight Simulator is more of a game. Yeah, you can put stuff in, like, having those kind of missions. And yeah, I mean, it depends on what the missions are, too. I mean, it's like sometimes I think that's why I think a career mode will be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to see what they do with the career mode. I bought Simbit World's career, what is it, a pilot's life, and sometimes it's nice, sometimes it isn't, because the problem is with every career mode, it always feels like there is a missing aspect. It's not accurate somewhere, and then you end up being like, well, I'll just do free flight and I'll just make up my own career in my head or something. Alright, so you can see we are still cruising over the Australian Bight. We are out of fuel in the center tanks, so let's turn those off. And we've cut the flight down to about an hour 43 to go. That's going to keep going down as we go at 4 times speed. I do that because otherwise it'd be an incredibly long stream and incredibly long. like my wife and son, they're gonna be coming back from what they're doing about 1 o'clock. I want to be either done with this flight or into an, you know, done with this flight and just done, or maybe starting the next flight and going on that one. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure if I'll do another flight. Maybe I'll do some offline stuff and figure out what's going on with my sim, make sure everything's working properly. Only problem with long flights and time acceleration is that camera, the drone camera, always gets flipped over and saying. So yeah, when I flew in Australia in X-plane, I flew over the land a lot more than I am right now. So I'm a little disappointed with the route here, but it's the route. But when I fly back to Brisbane from Perth in a few flights, we'll make sure to kind of maybe put Alice Springs as a waypoint on the flight and kind of do a longer flight like that. Not terribly realistic, but just fun. But cool. 'Cause I like flying over land, to be honest. It's really cool to see the different landscapes. Alright, I'm going to step away for a few minutes, make sure I got some other stuff done, and I almost want to maybe slow down so I have time to make some lunch. I might do that. Let's go to... We'll go to regular time for a moment here, and let's see how long that's going to cut off on the flight time. We're at 1 hour 34. Always speed it back up. I think I'm going to grab a bite to eat, and then we'll speed it up and we'll come in for the landing, and we'll see where we're at after this flight. But we are making pretty good. We got another 583 miles, which is almost a whole flight. You know, most of my flights are under 500 miles on this, so the longer one. All right, they want us to actually climb to 36,000 at this point, so we'll put up there. We're gonna do a little short climb. You can see we're at top climb right there. And I'm gonna give you the GPS map, and I will see you in a little while after I grab a bite to eat.
radar contact. Maintain flight level 390.
Maintain flight level 390, 69 or 8.
Qantas 764, heavy, radar contact, maintain, flight level 410.
Maintain. Flight level 410. Qantas 764. Heavy.
Velocity 572. Radar contact. Maintain. Flight level 360.
Maintain. Flight level 360. 572.
Qantas 654 Heavy. Radar contact. Maintain flight level 400. Maintain flight level 400. Qantas 654 Heavy. 643. Expect Bevel 5 X-ray. Arrival. RNAV X-ray. Approach. Runway 03. Report when ready for descent.
All right, I'm back. I've been here for a while, but just letting us cruise. Cruising in real time. 24 minutes left on the flight, so we should be getting done hopefully by 1:30. Everything all wrapped up. Let's see. We just got our call for expecting Bevly 5 X-ray arrival. RNAV X-ray approach, runway 03, port ready for descent. Let's see if we got anything here. Yeah, good.
Expect Bevel 5 X-ray. Arrival. RNAV X-ray. Approach. Runway 03. Report when ready for descent. Qantas 643.
Right, top of descent right there, about 23 nautical miles out, 22 nautical miles out. Start taking a look here. We're going for RNAV X-ray runway 3. Add route. Looks like transition final. Go to the view here. Pull up the chart. And coming up on Bevly, gonna have a hold point there if needed. Then we'll have Kiema into Vavka. At Vavka, we need to be at 230 knots. Cargo at max 185, and that's where our transition into the final nice turn right into Perth. Once we get on the RNAV X-ray, some of the pertinent information. Cargo, we're going to want to be at 3,000 feet, so that's a key point. Our minimum's 450 feet. Runway elevation 67. You can throw it. That's going to keep about, or just keep that 50 up there. Final approach is 16 degrees. At Papa Hotel 020, we need to be at 2,180 feet. That's to be right there before we make that final turn. And we need to be a minimum 150 knots. Our minimum 150 knots right there, and then we're going to start descending by 020. We need to be at 2,180, and then continuing in 790 at 030, and then we'll be at the runway. Our minimum rate in there. If we need to go around, we're going to go 16 degrees, climb out to Papa Hotel 040, left turn to Papa Hotel 050, and you can see those waypoints right there. And then we'll take a 24 degree out to Barf, which is a great place to do a holding point or whatever we got to do, but Barf, I like it. We got our VOR there. Perth is going to be 113.7. We'll put that into the app pretty soon.
Descend and maintain flight level 270.
Alright, and we just got our descend and maintain flight level 270, so we're going to throw that in right now and do the altitude intervention. VNAV. We had the VNAV and we could have waited for the top descent, but we're going to start right now. I don't usually have problems with the descent in this plane. In the fly-by-wire A32 and XD A320, we do need to do kind of like the vertical speed, do it ourselves so we get down in time. We're not fighting. But usually don't have too many issues on this plane. Alright, we're at a heading of 292 right now. Final course is going to be 16 degrees. So we got that in there. Looking down at the flight computer, and we're going to put in VOR 113.9. No, 7. That's what we just had. We had 9. There's the VOR and 113.9. There it is. Now we can do a little cheating here and put that ILS in if we want. Pull up one of the ILS charts for runway 3. But VOR should, ILS is going to be 110 point. Put that in right here, just in case we want to use it. Okay. Looks good there. So we are coming up on Hampton, and then we will be the aerospace. Everything's in. I think we have a limit on our altitude. We need to be below flight level 245. I think is the part saying. Not a big deal. Kind of a gradual descent until we get our pink there. It's starting to go down a little bit faster. I think part of that was because the auto thrust didn't actually pull back as we started the descent. Doing fine. We'll actually get the seatbelt signs on. Start looking at my checklist or my flow through here. Alright, descent checklist, pressurization, landing altitude 50, check, recall, checked, auto brake, we're gonna go 2, landing data, we don't have that yet, working, landing, we're going runway 03, we have 3,444 meters, 11,299 feet, nice long runway, headwind of 5 knots. Calculate. Alright, calculator. Pull that up so you can see what I see. Right there. Flaps 30. Down in here. Go to that page right here. Flaps 30, 144 knots. It is saying. Slightly different with the calculator. You can see it's 147, so we'll go with the 144 that it's got. Drag required after Vavga. Okay. Landing altitude is saying 100, so you round up, I guess. If you're over 50, just go to 100. Go up top and do that. Okay. So landing data, VREF. Read that off. VREF 144 knots. Minimums 450.
Qantas 643, descend and maintain flight level 180.
Descend and maintain flight level 180. Qantas 643.
Alright, 450 for our minimums. Check. Altimeters, we passed standard. Our transition altitude is 10,000 feet. About 10,000 we'll get the ground pressure, local pressure, and our get our landing lights on. Checking out the Perth International Airport, met our data, and I'll pull that up. And we can see we got VFR, 11 degrees Celsius. There we go. There we go. Alright, VFR, 11 degrees Celsius. It is night in real time. Local time, you see it's 1:30 in the morning, so might give us some issues with having any planes actually at the airport. A lot of traffic. 5-knot winds, 10 degrees, so perfect headwind there, 5 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers plus, and ceiling of 4,000 feet. We got broken clouds 4,000, few clouds at 2,500. There, right there, few clouds 2,500. Broken at 4,000. 11 degrees Celsius, 11 degree dew point, and QNH 1023, which is what we're looking for right there. This is from 1730 Zulu, which it's saying it's 24 minutes old. I'm guessing our time zone might be slightly off. Maybe one of those half-hour time zones, I'm not sure. You can see this is unlimited visibility, 10 plus kilometers. 10 degrees, 5 knots for the winds. This is showers. Not sure what BC that mean. Every once in a while you see something that you're not sure about, and you kind of just look that up. Like telling me right there. Vicinity. I knew it was showers. Current weather is in the vicinity. Showers, temperature, and wind chill are 11 degrees. Dew point is 11 degrees. Relative humidity 100%, and air pressure at sea level 102. All the information we need right there. 1023. We can actually put that in on this plane, but when we switch it out, it will automatically lock in. Coming up on flight level 180. A little bit different terrain out here. It's a little bit more dry. Alright, so here's where they kind of screw me again, where they're not giving me that clearance down. There it is, finally.
And maintain 9,000, QNH 1023, contact Perth, approach 123.6.
Descend and maintain 9,000, contact Perth, approach 123.6, Qantas 643.
We're going to apply drag, that way we can
Perth, approach Qantas 643,
get down.
inbound, Bentley, at flight level 180, descending 9,000.
Qantas 643, radar contact, continue descent 9,000, QNH 1023.
Continue descent 9,000, Qantas 643.
It shouldn't be asking for standard right now. We'll get to 10,000. Now the vertical speed is allowing us to go up to 303 knots. That way we can descend quicker. Which isn't the most fun for passengers when you're descending at a higher rate, because it's harder for them to pop their ears and get just the pressure.
Qantas 643, proceed direct cargo, cleared level 5 X-ray, arrival, QNH 1023.
Proceed direct cargo, cleared level 5 X-ray, arrival, Qantas 643.
Alright, direct cargo. Basically skipping. Gonna let us skip Vapka and everything, so we'll just go straight to cargo. You can see we got nothing else in there, so we do need to get that approach settled. We do have the Velvet L5X, and we're doing RNAV X-ray 03, no transitions, execute, the legs, and go cargo, execute. See that right there, 185 knots we need to get down to, and we should be Vavga at 230 knots. That's kind of the problem having no Vavga in there. But we're on line. We just need to get slowed down is the biggest issue right now. Go standard or ground pressure. There's those retractable lights right there. Alright, we're below 10,000 feet. And we're at around 236.5 knots. We need to get down 230 by Vavga, which we should be alright. And a max of 185 by cargo. Do have some weather, some scattered showers in the area. Hey Patricia, coming into Perth. And yeah, you can see the clouds. So I'm guessing we're gonna get a little bit of rain. They keep not clearing us down. Puts us behind everything. There you go. The ATC is always like a little behind where we need to be, which is annoying to say the least. These birds are trying to get in through the air conditioner. Seoul to Ulaanbaatar, cool. I think. Sounds like a very familiar flight for me. Where am I flying? Oh no, I'm flying. I'm gonna be flying Seoul to Tokyo and then Tokyo to Ulaanbaatar on our world tour. We're gonna fly into Seoul. We're gonna go from Saipan into Seoul, and then we'll go from Seoul into Tokyo and then back. So, kind of bouncing back and forth across the Korean Peninsula. Looking forward to getting in there. Yeah, here we are again. We're kind of behind the plane. We're not at the speed I want to be or slowed down. Remember, we need to be at 185 by the time we get to cargo. Our descent getting down to 3,000, we're going to have a hard time. It seems to be the problem lately. I don't know why FSHUD ATC has kind of backfired lately and not really clearing me when I need to be cleared, which makes it harder and harder and harder to get where we need to be. Slow down to 185. Oh really? You're going to do Seoul via Tokyo? Yeah, I don't know if there's any direct. There might be direct. I don't know. We need to get to Tokyo, so flew into Seoul, then went back to Tokyo. And always end up getting overshooting the approach. A hard time getting slowed down and ending.
Qantas 643, descend and maintain 3,000.
Descend and maintain 3,000. Qantas 643.
Qantas 643, cleared RNAV X-ray, approach at 3,000, runway 03, report established final track.
Cleared RNAV X-ray, approach at 3,000, runway 03, report established final track. Qantas 643.
Alright, next waypoint is Papa Hotel 010, where we need to be minimum 150 knots, 3,000 feet, and then we will descend. We're descending down to 2180. Already at flaps 10. Doing all right. Getting a little crankier lately. A little more bratty, I think. Throws a fit if he doesn't get his way. Super epic project. I'm doing all right. All right, welcome in. This is time for a landing into Perth. Hopefully it's a good one. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I don't think I'm going to be able to stream another flight here. Got some plans this afternoon. Wife and kids should be back home any minute. So I'll probably do some behind the scenes work, get other flights set up. Oh man. Landing gear down. Alright, landing checklist down to the line. Engine start switches, continuous, speed brake, armed, landing gear down. Could be going down. Turn, arm the speed brake. Now, Perth gives me a lot of trouble, and I could have sworn I turned off the Perth Airport gives me a lot of trouble. I don't know what it is about Perth. I had a freeware airport and then I turned it off because of this issue where it was kind of not so great. Did not keep descending. I don't know why Perth is so janky on the approach. But I did even turn off this airport. The
Qantas 643 established on final track.
Qantas 643, contact Perth Tower 127.4.
Contact Perth Tower 127.4. Qantas 643.
I'm in.
Perth Tower Qantas 643 on final 03. Qantas 643, wind 40 degrees at 4 knots, cleared to land 03. Cleared to land 03, Qantas 643.
Alright, minimums. Continue. Everything kind of popped up fast on this one.
50, 30, 20, 10.
Qantas 643, when vacated, contact ground 121.7. When vacated, contact ground 121.7, Qantas 643.
I should have taken that exit. Missed our exit. We should have taken that one right there, which should have been perfect. Now we're gonna have to kind of cross some runways.
runway 2406.
Taxi to gate 152 via November Charlie Sierra. Hold short of runway 2406. Qantas 643.
Qantas 643. Contact Perth Tower 127.4.
Contact Perth Tower 127.4. Qantas 643. Perth Tower Qantas 643. Request cross runway 2406. Qantas 643, cross runway 2406. When vacated, contact ground 121.7.
Starting the APU.
Cross runway 2406. When vacated, contact ground 121.7. Qantas 643.
We're on Sierra, crossing runway 2406.
Perth ground Qantas 643. Runway vacated with Sierra.
Qantas 643. Continue taxi via Sierra.
Continue taxi via Sierra. Qantas 643.
Okay, clearing our flaps and auto brake. Speed brake off. B there. I think. Always hard to tell. Again, no planes parked. I don't know why. Disappointing to show up to these airports and kind of being empty. Chicken and macaroni salad for brunch. Nice. That's healthier than what I had. Parking brake set. Switch over to APU generation. Lead on. And put the switches the off position for the engine and cut off. Anti-collision off, seatbelt signs off, and let's call up GSX and get passengers deboarding.
Deboarding requested.
Wheel chock set, and we'll go over here to ground services, request the ground power. Ground power available. Turn off the APU.
Starting.
Got damper off. Top. IRS. Flight directors off. And Beautiful day here in Perth. I have a few showers on our approach, but otherwise not too bad of a flight. Still got the passengers coming off. See them in there? Oh yeah, I actually see them a little bit. And queuing up inside the plane. That's pretty cool. Oh, there's Malaysia Airlines. Decided to join us. Otherwise, kind of an empty airport today. But beautiful. You can see the fall colors coming in as we get closer to winter down under. Let's see. Nice flight on the Flying Kanga. Flying Kangaroo, right? Alright, anything else we need here right now? I'm not going to go through the whole shutdown process. I don't think I am. I might. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, we're not going to go through the whole shutdown. So welcome to Perth. Pull up Volanta and check out the flight. Alright, here we go. Let's review the flight. You can see those storms and see how we kind of looped down into the Bight. So we didn't get to see much of the desert or quite a bit in the middle of that flight. But I think on my flight back to Brisbane, we'll have a little bit more of South Australia. Maybe can even kind of route us up to Alice Springs and then back down, kind of get a more of a central flight. That might be the plan. Before that, we're going to fly out to Christmas Island and then over to Coco's Islands and then back to Perth. And then back over to... what I might do is I might check to see if there's a flight from Coco's to Darwin. I'm not confident there is. If there isn't, we'll fly down to Perth and then we'll kind of route Perth to around Alice Springs. We'll kind of find a waypoint here and kind of do a little bit of a longer flight to Brisbane so we can kind of get a little bit of sightseeing over Australia. But anyway, here's our flight. You can see not too much going on as far as the route, just
Do you want to deboard boat?
point to point. And landing rate, like negative 211 feet per minute. Flight time, let me just put this into my spreadsheet. Get our proper times. So it is the 12th. Took off at 21. That was our pushback. 21:52. Our takeoff was, if I can type stuff, go to landed at 2:42. To the back to the of us flight time, block time of 4 hours 58 minutes and a flight time of 4 hours 40 minutes. You see our real time right there. Shaved off a little time doing the time acceleration. Not a ton, but just enough. So put that away, and not gonna pull up the map since we just went Australia. Sounds like the passengers are all off board and working on the cargo down here. So thank you for coming along on the flight. Hope you enjoyed it. Next flight, well, as I said, we're gonna be flying Perth up to the Christmas Island. We'll be on Qantas once again. We'll be in the Qantas, I think Yayani livery. I think that's what it's called. It's a really cool one. I've used a number of times. Oh no, actually, our next few flights are gonna be on Virgin Australia. Never mind. We're gonna be on Virgin Australia. We'll be in the A320. I'll be using FS to crew, possibly picking up FS to crew for the Boeing for the future. But we'll be on Virgin Australia for the next 3 flights from Perth up to Christmas Island over to Coco's Islands, and then Coco's back to Perth. And then flying back across the continent, across Australia, will be in a really cool Qantas livery that I used back in X-Plane as well to fly across continent. It looks really cool. So those will be our next few flights. Hopefully knock out another one tomorrow morning. I wish I could get a day where I could do a couple flights. I thought today might be the day, but it's already late, so probably this is gonna be the one flight, and then I'll get some behind the scenes stuff, get everything set up that way I can knock out multiple flights in a day one of these days. So thanks a lot for coming. Let's make sure we got some music rolling there, and until next time, happy flying and take care.